is Jim Rohn. Jim?
Thanks, Alan. Nice to be here.
It's good to talk to you live here in Australia. Now, in case you don't know who Jim Rohn is, he's the man about whom, for example, Anthony Robbins said, Jim Rohn, my first personal development teacher, always taught me that if you have enough reasons, you can do anything. I think that's very interesting.
Fantastic, yeah. I appreciate Tony. I found him when he was 17. He was unusual, and of course now he's become a superstar.
And he had, obviously he's a phenomenal human being, but even at 17 he must have had all those hallmarks of an extremely successful person, which for you are what?
True. Not the average 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Then he went to work for me, promoted my seminar for about 3 years. But he was a fast learner and thoroughly digested all the ideas and materials that I had to share. And then, of course, he studied on his own. Now he's a world phenomenon.
He really is. He said, he goes on to say, Anthony, in his little piece about you here, Jim, he says, reasons, having enough reasons, are the difference between being interested versus being committed to accomplishing something. I remember the first time I talked to you, and back in my radio days, you said to me, one of the secrets of life is you cannot have what you cannot attract. You know, success is not something you pursue, it's actually something that comes to you.
Right.
That you do attract, yeah.
Well, I must also say it's exciting to have someone like you all these years later to say, here's some ideas that affected my life. So that's something you can't buy with money. And so I got hooked about 33 years ago on trying to translate my experiences into ideas, seminars, and books, and lectures, and speeches. And now it takes a fair share of my life. I'm an entrepreneur primarily. I'm not really a professional speaker, but I've gotten great joy out of traveling the world, sharing my story, and having people like you say, hey, it's made a difference for me. That's powerful.
Well, it has made a difference, as I've heard you say before. You're a farm boy from Iowa. You weren't, your family had no money. And for you learnt the basics later in life, which I guess most people do. We rarely, any of us, learn them early. And we kind of keep making all the same mistakes.
Yeah, we would hope, the educational system or at home, you might learn them all. My parents gave me a great foundation. But I met a wealthy man when I was 25, and he started, as you mentioned, opening the doors. Little ideas that it's not it that's the problem, it's you. I remember saying to him that things cost too much. He said, no, the problem is you can't afford it. Mm-hmm. I thought, new way to look at it. It's not the wind that blows, it's the set of the sail. It's not the economy, it's what you do about it. It's not what happens, it's how you perceive it. Those beginning ideas really started to change my life. And that if I wanted to, I could take full charge and not wait for a level playing field, not wait for the next political election, and not wait for my employer to become more generous, but to personally take charge. One, of my self-education, and two, practicing better ideas in the marketplace as well as at home, and start making myself more valuable out there as well as at home, as well as to my friends, and then learn that valuable principle. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. And my mentor said you can have a lot more than you've got because you can become a lot more than you are.
Sure. You were just using the phrase self-education there, and I heard you with a very interesting one this morning where you said, what was it, an education gives you?
Oh, formal education make you a living. Self-education make you a fortune.
Yeah. I love that. Because, see, in Australia, in the region in the last 4 years, we've got so used to blaming everybody else, everything else. We've got to blame the government, the economy, the recession, the weather, our family, whoever. But it's easy for us to blame others. And you're really serving notice on us that, back to your original, you cannot have what you cannot attract. It's really up to nobody else.
How true. And if you're expecting everyone else to fix a better life for you, they can't do much. The government can only do so much, and the economy can only do so much. Your employer can only do so much. We would all hope that everything around us would improve, but probably not enough to make you really happy. Self-improvement is the key to change for the better. And my little phrase I think is valid that says work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work on your job, you make a living. Work on yourself, you make a fortune. And so I started that practice age 25, and I was a millionaire. 31, and that was just my money. But the skills I learned, the classes I attended, the changes I made, my vocabulary, becoming skillful, learning new disciplines, reading the books, attending the classes, all of that stuff. I'm telling you, in a very short period of time, number one, greatly increased my self-esteem. Second, started making me more valuable to the marketplace. By the time I reached age 28, 29, my income was up over $30,000 a month, which back then was staggering kind of money.
Certainly was.
And then I went from there and learned how to manage other people, become an entrepreneur. But self-development is a lifetime process. It never ends. And then eventually how to balance it all. Not too much